Hey everybody, so people really want me to review the most recent Blood Incantation record, Timewave Zero, and I finally did give it time, gave it a listen, and my metal friends want me to shit all over it, and I'm sure those of you who disagree with my perspectives want me to hit the same note that I did before, and some of that is going to be there in this review, but not for the reasons you may think. I don't give a fuck if Blood Incantation makes an ambient record. I don't care. I'm not invested in the band. I think they are a subpar death metal band that writes cool riffs but has no handle on actual songwriting. They showed their best promise, I would say, with the demo. And I think they started to believe their own hype, and now they kind of feel that they can do whatever they want and it will be well received. And that to me is why I don't think this record is a ballsy move. Everybody says, "Oh, it's so ballsy, they fucking didn't put out a death metal record." And that's not the case when you see how rabid the fandom for this band is. They could literally just spew diarrhea into the fan base's mouth and they would just lap it up and wanting more, no matter what is put out. And you could see that in the comment sections for the full-length record. People are convincing themselves that they love what they're hearing, and of course, the more under the influence of whatever drug of the day is, the more you're going to enjoy it, and that's been the main perspective I've been seeing on it. And my take on the record, it's such an innocuous release that there is no real reason to completely despise it, aside from the fact that they went with a really pretentious concept, and that lends itself to what the band is. The band is a bunch of pretentious, drug-addled idiots that make really haphazard death metal. So it's a logical step that they're gonna make a record that is supposed to be enhanced by some kind of a drug usage. And the reason I say that is because the concept of Timewave Zero itself was developed by someone that was tripping balls on mushrooms. And my main complaint with the record is it doesn't commit to the concept enough. I actually think the Timewave Zero concept is kind of cool and totally worth exploring in an ambient medium, a metal medium. It's a cool concept, and I haven't delved too deep into it, but my understanding of what it is that time is not linear. It more operates like a spiral, and that there are events that happen in time that are very important and catastrophic, and as the spiral extends, there is an overlap where an event will end up having the same type of event occur as the spiral continues, but with greater magnitude, eventually culminating in the end of history, which was supposed to have happened in 2012. So the reason I think that the concept is not fully fleshed out on this record is because that in order to make a record that delves into that concept, you would have to have an adherence to themes, and we know that this band can't do that. But this essentially requires it, because if you're going to be looking at that concept, you would want to explore those themes that occur that would eventually culminate in catastrophe. You can develop a single melody at the start, have it be very bare bones, have it become more elaborate and developed as the record continues. You could have the ebb and flow, which the record does have. It does have ebb and flow. You could have these ambient soundscapes in between, and then you could have the record actually take on that dimension where those melodies are being developed, and then you have a singular voicing to it. What we have here instead is there's big swaths of nothingness it's trying to resemble the vacuity of space, and it's not unsuccessful in doing that. There's times where I do enjoy the vibe, and that's what this record is. It's about vibe. And it makes me want to watch like Event Horizon or see the scene in Phantasm where they go into that weird dimension inhabited by dwarfs. I get it. I totally understand what they're going for, but the reason I think that they don't fully encapsulate the theme is that if you're going to approach this record, if you're going to approach this kind of concept, either commit to having that vacuity of space be consistent, or have the melodies that you're trying to develop in between those swaths of emptiness be more tied into itself, have it be more developed, and have it be a singular voice that develops over the course of the record, or have the record actually be less ambient and more concentrated on that melody. But because they have these big swaths of nothingness and then kind of these ethereal melodies, I think there's like 3 actual points where they focus on more of an undulating melody instead of just like a kind of a texture. And those moments do have a nice little break from that nothingness, but they're different melodies, and they are kind of similar in vibe, but they're not similar in structure, in terms of how the intervals work. One I think is a 7 count, and the next one is just a straight, like a regular 4/4. So you don't have that same kind of vibe develop. And at the end of the record, you do have this nice kind of solemnity with what would end up feeling like finality. It feels mournful, and I think that is pretty successful. But if you're going to develop a theme where your severity is getting enhanced every time you go around the spiral, the record shouldn't peter out with like a solemn kind of funeral dirge. It should culminate in like a really catastrophic type of event where the melody that you have used to focus on the concept is finally fully fleshed out. I think that would be a much more successful way to make this concept come together. And I'm intrigued by it. I would love to make a record on this concept. I kind of want to do it. If you guys want to see what I would do for this concept, let me know. I have a lot of shit going on. I haven't made a video in a month, but this is something I actually would be into trying out. But like I said, this is not. It's not deserving of the amount of hatred that they get with their death metal affairs. It's the main thing to hate on it for is that I really do believe it's just an excuse to sell more merch and to kind of just get deeper into their own asses. I really think that this is just the culmination of all the pretentiousness that they've brought to the table as a death metal band, but filtered through a different medium. And it makes sense to me, but it's ultimately pretty hollow. I mean, I am not going to put on an ambient record many times. I don't have the need for that kind of experience. But to me, that kind of experience doesn't have the timeless quality that a melody-based release would have. So, to me, it's a hollow affair. So I can't really criticize it for being hollow. That's what it is. It's going to have that as an intrinsic value to it. So I can't really shit on it that hard for that. What I can shit on it hard for is not committing to the theme. It's almost as if they just came up with this concept, found another vaguely space sci-fi sounding topic, and just kind of stapled the title on the record. It's not fully fleshed out as a theme that relates to what the Timewave Zero concept is. And the intent of them as artists and what they're saying by putting out this record, I think that is totally fair for criticism. But there's not enough here to shit on. And if I were to say, well, it's not exciting, it's boring, that doesn't tell you anything about the quality of the release. It just tells you whether or not I like it, which doesn't matter. So I don't know. This band is about shock. It's about being unpredictable. That's how they get off. And doing this is another step in that lexicon. But it to me is just it's weak. It doesn't go far enough. I would have rather heard a record that is complete nothingness, or a record that is stripped of the death metal but concentrates on the theme of what they're actually trying to explore in a melodic sense, but still have it be spacious. I think there's many better ways they could have went about it. So that's about all I have to say about it. I'm going to be way harsher on whatever kind of metal shit they put out, because that's where my bread is buttered, but it is what it is. I mean, at the very least, I was proven right by the comment sections. Everybody fucking is pretending to like this thing, and it's pretty hilarious for me to watch, because it just doesn't have enough going for it to be warranting that kind of praise. So that's my take. So thank you for listening.